Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the weekly Flagler weather update. And this is the 16th of August, 2025. And this is our weekly outlook for the week ahead. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And just a reminder that you can always rewind if you are coming in the middle of this thing. So we're taking a look at Hurricane Aaron, and we're going to be talking about that first. The good news is it's not going to have any direct effects on us here in Flagler County, but there will be some knock-on effects on the beaches associated with this tropical cyclone, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But just looking at the satellite presentation here, it's a very impressive tropical cyclone. It doesn't look like there could be a little bit of shear going on, but not much. The 11 o'clock, as of right now, the 11 o'clock advisory hasn't come out yet. So at the last report, it was 160 miles per hour. And it's going to start, looks like you can almost start to see that forecast turn more to the northwest. It looks like that's starting to happen now. And the forecast track takes it more off to the northwest as we go through the next few days. So let's talk about that real quick. Just take a look at Hurricane Aaron. Let's take a look at the main thing, risk of tropical storm force winds. We are well away from any of that, so we will not be seeing at this point. That is not in the forecast at this point in time. Taking a look at the where the actual center of the tropical cyclone is expected to go. This is as of 8 o'clock. The winds are 150 miles an hour, so it dropped back down from Cat 5 back to Cat 4. And these very intense hurricanes have a tendency to do that. They will fluctuate in strength. Now, the hurricane force winds, again, just to put this in perspective, they're in a very, very small area. Matter of fact, you can't even really see them on the map here. And then the tropical storm force winds extend out a little bit of ways from the center, mostly off to the north and east of the center of the storm. So, again, it's not a very large tropical cyclone at this point in time. Sometimes as they go further north, they do spread out. Now, that being said, just remember the cone tells us where the center is going to go. It doesn't tell us about where the weather is going to go. Tropical storm watches are in place for the far eastern Bahamas, and this is expected to maintain major hurricane strength as it moves and be to the east of us by the middle part of the week before it accelerates off to the northeast and away from anywhere in the United States. Of course, if I was in Bermuda, I'd be more worried. Anywhere else, though, other than the rip currents, and that's the main thing is going to be the rip current risk with this storm. Again, looking at the tropical storm force wind risk, those are well offshore, and looking at the hurricane force winds, this is the risk of hurricane force winds, also well offshore. Now, the main concern with this, again, is for us, is going to be the rip currents. And I do have a rip current graphic here right now. I don't see one that I can use. Let me just check real quick. But our main concern is going to be rip currents here, and those rip currents will start, especially Sunday into Monday along our beaches, and we'll get more into that in just a little bit. So Aaron, staying away. So what else is going on in the tropics, though? So let's talk about that. We do have two other areas. This system here, a 10% chance of development, and that's probably not going to be a problem. But the area of interest now is behind Aaron. This is the next potential area of problems. And right now, it's very minimal at that. 20% chance of something getting going here in the next 7 days. That's a very low chance, so nothing to really worry about, but something we do want to keep an eye on. And this has a 20% chance. They're expecting a lower area of low pressure that could possibly develop and move in this corridor somewhere here. And then if it does happen, if a low pressure system can develop here, by the middle to the end of next week, then if it can get its act together, then there's a potential that it could further strengthen, especially, again, later on this week. So, again, nothing to be worried about, but just something to keep an eye on. This is the time of year that we're going to see a lot of these type of systems that will be tracked by the Hurricane Center. Most of them, nothing will come of, but a few of them, something will, and that's why they have to be watched. So going further into the future, into the tropics, as we go from the 20th of August through August 26th, that takes us through this week and into the beginning of next. You can see that the Climate Prediction Center has highlighted this area here. And about a 40% chance of maybe something developing in the mid-Atlantic as another system comes off Africa, and then a much lower chance, about a 20% chance of development in this corridor here. But as we get into the end of August and early September, We still have risk of development in the central tropical Atlantic, but that risk is even lower now. So, about a 20% chance of development here. But these, again, these are just long range forecasts. These can change quite a bit. So it just tells us that the bottom line is the tropics will be busy as we go through the next few weeks ahead. Now, let's get into our local weather. Now, we do have a front that's kind of moving in and settling over the area. There's a front coming in from the north, and that front's going to kind of stall. You can kind of see some of the clouds moving from the east to the southwest here. And there's some thunderstorms trying to get going out in the coastal waters. Don't be surprised to get a few rumbles of thunder tonight, especially in those early morning hours, as some of these storms try to form in those warm ocean waters overnight tonight. Now, how's our forecast looking? And again, looking at our map here, you can kind of see that's right where that front is. And that front kind of fades away. And then there's the hurricane well off to our east as it moves towards the north. So how does that measure out as far as our local weather here in Flagler County is concerned? Looking at high temperatures for tomorrow, look for highs generally right near 90 degrees, 80s at the beaches. Tomorrow night, and it's going to be pretty consistent. Lows near 80 at the beaches, and temperatures bottoming out in mid 70s elsewhere. Going through the rest of the week, getting into Monday, still pretty consistent. Highs lower 90s, and again Tuesday kind of the same. Near 90, lower 90s inland, 80s at the beaches. Going even further, going into Thursday, it looks like things warm up a little bit Thursday, maybe mid 90s inland, near 90 at the beaches. Going even further into the future, going to next week now, next Saturday, looks like we're staying in the 90s with 80s at the beaches. Now, let's take a look at the heat index real quick. How are we looking for tomorrow's heat index? 100, 105 degrees, the cooler readings at the beaches. Remember, heat index is important because that's what your body is going to react to. So why do we talk about the heat index? Because that's what the air is going to feel like, and your body is going to react to that. You're going to dehydrate. You're going to get heat illness based on that heat index, not what the actual air temperature is. And it looks like we stay consistent into Monday, around 105 degrees. And going further into the future, Wednesday, we stay the same. Pretty much we stay the same all the way through the week. Now, when we get to Thursday, we might bump up a little bit here, 107 degrees maybe Thursday. But then Friday, we stay pretty close to that. And then into Saturday, we about 105, 107 degrees. So it looks like things will get a little hotter towards the end of the week. Let's talk about rainfall. What are the rainfall chances and all of that? So for rain chances, about a 70% chance of rain throughout the county on Sunday. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be a washout. It just means at any point during the course of the day, it's likely you will see showers, maybe some thunderstorms. And they may start early along the beaches in the morning. They could possibly get started before the sun comes up. So just be aware of that. And then as we go into Sunday night, look for about a 30 to 40% chance of showers. And notice those rain chances are higher near the beaches, but they decrease as you go inland. And as we go into Monday, a little bit less rain chances, about a 50 to 60% chance, a little bit better chances inland. And then Monday night, we see rain chances dwindle down quite a bit to less than 15%. And then going through the rest of the week, looking about a 50% chance of showers and storms on Tuesday. And Wednesday, about 60% chance. So looking like our daily chances of showers and storms. Thursday looks like we dry out a little bit. Rain chances maybe about 40% on Thursday. And then as we get into Friday, and again at night, staying really minimal. Friday, those rain chances come back up 60% and there's 70% on Friday. And as we get into Saturday, we're back up to a 70% chance of showers and storms. Again, it doesn't mean it's going to be a washout. It just means that there's a pretty good chance, at least throughout the day, at some point you'll see a shower or a thunderstorm. That's all that means right now. So as we go further, let's go talk about the beaches right now. And moderate rip current risk, that risk is going to increase. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. We'll do a quick review. And the the UV index is very high. Water temperatures anywhere from 82 to 87 degrees. That is quite warm out there, folks. That's warm ocean water. Going further ahead from August 22nd to August 26th, look for temperatures to be above normal here in Flagler County and precipitation chances just slightly above normal, or precipitation amounts rather. And again, look for temperatures going into the end of August above normal, precipitation also just slightly above normal. How much rain we're going to get is going to be a little bit above normal on the average as to what that tells us. And just a quick review now, and we'll take a quick look at the radar. You can see there are some showers and storms going on out there in the coastal waters. It's possible one or two of those could drift back towards us during the overnight hours. We'll have to see. But just a quick review that showers and storms can be expected each day. Some heavy rainfall possible in some of those. But as we get into next week, we're going to see the surf and the rip currents become much more severe. We will see the rip currents increase, and that'll make for dangerous swimming conditions, especially folks that are not used to swimming in the ocean. It can be quite dangerous. You see the surfers out there, they know what they're doing. So unless you're really familiar with how to swim in the ocean under rough conditions, it's best to stay out of it when these conditions do exist. So the rest of this weekend's probably going to be okay, but when we get into Monday, we're going to start to see that surf starting to come in, and we're going to start to see the rip currents increasing. Now, again, quick overview of the tropics. We do have Erin, which is going to stay well off to the sea, out to sea. And the next area of interest is this area here that we'll be watching. And a little bit on Heron. Again, it is a major hurricane, Erin, but it's going to stay far enough away, but it will be bringing us some dangerous rip currents and surf. And again, even distant hurricanes can be deadly with rip currents, with rip current-related deaths associated with them. So, folks, that's going to wrap things up. I appreciate everyone taking time to tune in. Our next update will be mid next week unless something special happens. Everybody have a great evening, and thank you. And again, if you're just coming in, you can rewind and rewatch.